Today we are reviewing the first movie from our new Wheel of Cinema series, Alarum. Is this a fun action movie or is it alarmingly bad? Let's discuss this and more on the Late Nights Movie podcast. Welcome back to the Late Night Movie podcast. I'm your host, Welchy, and joining me tonight, as always, are my co-hosts, Mr. Pop Figures himself, Andy.
I knew it was going to be a stupid pun before you even said it because the way that you was building up to it. Yeah, no, very funny. Hello guys. Yeah, happy to be back.
And
Excited to talk about this film.
I thought you stopped. And Mr. 10 out of 10, Stephen.
Just trying to control myself.
Lovely to be back as always. And I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting for that pun, but yeah, that's one of the most ridiculous ones we've had, but still incredibly funny. And looking forward to hearing what you guys think about. What is it? What is it again?
Alarum. That's what they kept saying in the movie, I think. Alarum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alarum. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, we'll get onto our thoughts in a minute. Before we start, I do want to take this time to, I guess, announce that we are moving back to a one podcast a week format. I don't know when we moved to two, maybe in the summertime last year, but we've been doing two podcasts a week for a while. We're now moving back to one. Reasons being multiple. One, it was taking a lot of time out of our days to record two, and we ended up having very little sleep on 2 nights a week at least. More editing for me, more uploading, more promoting, blah, blah, blah. And also, more so on the gaming side, the movie side wasn't doing too bad, but coming up with topics every week twice, particularly on the gaming side, was starting to become a challenge. I was looking ahead for the rest of the year. I was thinking, we're going to have to make some shit up. And I was thinking, why don't we just bring it into a more compact one episode, and it makes it a bit easier. We also have, you would have noticed when Stephen reviewed 6 movies in one episode the other week, we don't get as much time to talk about what we've been watching or what we've been playing on these episodes. So now we will. So what we're going to do, instead of 2 1-hour episodes, we're going to do one 1.5 hour episode. So it should make sense. We've still got to figure out what we're going to do with the quiz and stuff like that. But for now, we're going with this until we probably go back to 2 at some point. We're going to keep changing it until we get it right. But no, this is going to be the way forward for now. So hopefully you will all enjoy these slightly longer episodes, but it also gives you, it's actually less amount of time watching us as well, in theory. So that's that. We already announced that on Discord, so most people should know. If you aren't on Discord, I do recommend joining us on Discord because we announce things there early, and it's a really active community talking about movies, games, football, whatever. So that's that. We've announced that. Now let's move on to our review. So for those who don't know, we recently finished a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, our A to Z movie series where we reviewed a movie for every letter of the alphabet. And we've moved on to this new series called The Wheel of Cinema. So in the last episode of the A to Z series, we used a wheel system, which I need to get up ready for today. Remind me to do that in a minute. To find out or select our next movie. So the genre was picked, and that was action movie. The years were picked, so we had like year brackets, and somehow we got 2025 plus, which is the worst possible one just because of the selection of movies. And Letterboxd rating, we somehow got 0 to 1. Now,
which was impossible.
It was literally impossible to find an action movie from that year at that rating. So we ended up having to settle with 1.5. So spoiler alert.
Which was the lowest rated.
Yeah, the Alarum, this movie we're reviewing, has a Letterboxd score of 1.5. So will we give it anything higher? We will see. Budget for this movie. Anyone have a guess what the budget was? I had to Google it. I found it. It wasn't that hard to find, actually.
I'm just thinking, for one actor, basically. How much did he ask for? 2 million.
2 million. Stephen?
I'd probably say 5 million, mainly for having Sylvester Stallone in the picture. I'd say a little bit is probably what they paid him to be in this film.
Is there a number what you would say would be like ridiculous for this film? Like anything like above this?
Anything over 10 million.
Well, if you say something like 35 to 40 million, I'd say that's absolutely ludicrous.
It's
20
going to be
million.
crazy, isn't it?
20 million for this
Really?
film,
For
yeah.
this?
Okay.
Which I don't know how much
Interesting.
less Sylvester Stallone got.
Probably got a 10 million of that. It's like half the budget went to paying him. But I did fair, there is a lot of action set pieces and lots of explosions, and they probably needed a bit of a budget for the action sequences that happen.
Yeah, we can argue about that in a minute. Budget, not budget, box office. This did have a box office.
Did it
Oh,
release in
really?
cinemas? Don't even...
I don't think it did in the UK.
Okay.
Makes
What do you think
sense.
the box office would have been for this movie,
10 million.
Stephen?
I'd say like 25. Maybe it just made a bit of a profit.
250,000.
Wow. That is what you call a
So
flop.
there is a caveat to that. I do believe this is an Amazon Prime movie, or like an
Yes.
Amazon movie. I don't think this released anywhere other than like Saudi Arabia. So
Oh, okay.
That now
it was a
makes...
trick
that's
question
more
because it didn't really
a
release
caveat.
anywhere properly.
Yeah.
Let me just get up the Letterboxd so I can read the description of this movie for anyone who doesn't know what it is. So on Letterboxd, it's called Alarum. On Amazon Prime, it's called Mission Alarum.
Mhm.
No need for the word mission, really. But anyway, it came out in 2025, directed by Michael Polish. And Michael Polish has also directed Forces of Nature. Anyone heard of that? No.
No.
Honestly, I don't think there's any point in me going through this list because Alarum is second, and that normally means it's the most second popular.
Oh, God.
There is not
The only-
much here that we would
The
recognize.
only thing that did pop up that Joel and Ethan Cohen was apparently in the film and the producer.
I can't see them in the cast. Joel Cohen is a producer.
Which I was like, oh, okay, so that's the only sort of big name, him and Sylvester Stallone, I would say, because
Should I know Joe Cohen?
hang on.
Because
If
when you go on his
he has
Letterboxd,
done,
it just says he's produced Savage Salvation and Armored and Cash Out.
maybe it's a different Joel Cohen. I was thinking of the Cohen brothers. Is he not? Which are Joe and Ethan Cohen? Or is it someone completely different with the same name?
Cohen brothers. The Cohen brothers, that's different people, mate. They're spelled differently.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
This Cohen has a H in it. The
Oh,
Cohen
right.
brothers are just Coen.
Well, I was thinking,
That's funny.
really, one of the Coen brothers were on this film. Like,
Yeah.
really? Like, how did that happen? And where was his brother? Did his brother look at it and go, no, Joel, you're on your own, but completely different person? Fair enough.
No, they are not in
Then
this.
no.
This is very much different people. So on the cast, we've got Scott Eastwood. Is he related to Clint?
Oh, that's what I was going to ask.
Too far I didn't look, so I don't know. But
The son of actor and filmmaker Clint Eastwood. Yes, he is.
oh, wow.
Okay.
He starred in several of his
Alright.
father's films, including Flags of Our Fathers, Gran Torino. I fucking love Gran Torino.
Yeah, Gran Torino's a great
Invictus.
film.
And Trouble with the Curve, as well as Texas Chainsaw, Fury, The Longest Ride. These aren't now. I don't think these are Clint Eastwood films. They're just films.
Yeah.
Longest Ride, Suicide Squad, Snowden, The Fate of the Furious, Pacific Rim Uprising, The Outpost, Wrath of Man, and Fast 10.
Oh,
It's got a
you talked
list
about the
of good
2016,
movies.
the 2016 Suicide Squad. I thought I
Yes,
recognised him from
yes.
somewhere. It's that film that I recognise him from then.
He's in some
I didn't
good
recognise him at all.
movies. Like,
He must be a kid in Gran Torino.
yeah, because Gran Torino is 2008. He was he was
Yeah.
born in 1986, so no. He would have been
I can't
about
place
20.
who he was
He'd been
in.
about 20. So he'd have been
And if he was, he probably had like a small cameo in the film. I imagine it wasn't a main role.
you know what? I'm going to dig into this because I'm actually interested. Clint
I
Eastwood,
know it
obviously
would
the
have been
main. Scott Eastwood is
Yeah.
quite far down the list. Trey. Well, no one's going to remember who Trey is in Gran Torino. But
I think there's a scene where there's like a gang of like three boys,
it's probably one
and
of
he
them.
might be one of them. It's like a 2-second scene.
Yeah, I think it was a cameo. Well, I will say the leading actress I did recognise because she was the leading star in Scream's TV series that was on Netflix.
So
Okay. Her name
I didn't
is.
recognize it really.
Her name is. I'm going to say Willa, but is it Villa? It begins with a
I
W.
think it's Willa. Yeah, Willa.
Willa Fitzgerald, American actress. She's known for Emma Duval in MTV's Scream. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. As soon as she popped up, I was like, oh, it's Emma from Scream.
In terms of movies, there's not really anything here. I don't think the Fall of the House of Usher. I think that's a Netflix thing.
Yeah, that's a Netflix thing.
A lot of stuff here isn't that recognizable. Regretting You, that came out this year or last year? Regretting You.
Yeah, that
Recently.
was
Yeah.
with Alison Williams in that really shit film that I saw.
Yeah, she was in
I don't
this.
remember her in it.
Obviously, we've already mentioned Sylvester Stallone. We don't need to go through his movies. Mike Coulter, who was all in this. Remember his?
Does he play Luke Cage? If he doesn't, he looks
He
very
is,
similar.
yes.
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
it was him.
Okay, I've not actually watched that, but I now can picture him. He's in Zero Dark
Yeah.
30, apparently. I don't
Is he?
remember
I
who.
can't
I don't know if
picture
he's
him
one of
now.
like the army
No.
people, because there's like loads at the
Probably
end,
because
isn't
that's
there?
where they all make their cameos in that.
He's in Men in
Bloody
Black
hell.
3. He's in $1 Million Baby. So he's got a decent list of movies there.
You talk about the main enemy, like the
Yes.
bad guy. Yeah.
Then there's a load of other people. Oh, Joel Cohen is in his actually, but not your one.
Not wrong Joel Cohen I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So the Letterboxd description reads like this: 2 married spies caught in the crosshairs of an international intelligence network will stop at nothing to obtain a critical asset. Joe and Lara are agents living off the grid whose quiet retreat at a winter resort is blown to shreds when members of the old guard suspect that the 2 may have joined an elite team of rogue spies known as Alarum. Yeah, that's that. Rotten Tomatoes. Have you looked?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
Steven's
know
looked.
what-
Let's keep it a surprise for Andy. Then, Andy, what do you think the Rotten Tomato score is?
What critics? I don't think it's gonna be high.
Both, but go with critics first.
Critics, I'll say 17, and audience would probably be slightly higher, maybe like 38, 39.
Oh, Welchy, can I give the grand announcement?
Well,
before I
what I
remember
will
off the
say
top
is
of my
you
head?
are right that the audience score was higher.
Probably like one higher or so.
Go on, Stephen, you can do it.
So the critics score, which I did refresh to make sure that this was absolutely correct, 0%
Wow,
critic
really?
score and
Oh my
15% from audience score. So the
Okay,
audience score is
wow.
higher by a whopping 15%, but that's because the critic score is 0. It has got like what 10 critics that have reviewed it.
Or whatever. That's a good point. I'll have a look.
Yeah, I think that's like the minimum amount you need. So obviously, no one
From
likes
memory,
it.
From
and
from
no one
memory, I
else
think it's
watched
like
it.
20. As in, they have 22 reviews.
Yeah.
22
Okay,
reviews,
that's
so
a decent amount then.
not a single critic wanted to even give the movie a toy bit.
So the first critic review that pops up: a film so bad it shames American cinema itself. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a review.
That's like a pretty sort of vicious review. You don't need to know anything about the movie. Just it's so bad it shames American cinema.
Here's one. I've not seen The Expendables 4, but it says Stallone's work here
Still
makes
this
his
one.
appearance in The Expendables 4 seem focused and committed by comparison.
Yeah, and, I mean, I've seen Expendables 4, and I did laugh out loud when I read that because he hasn't got anything to shout about in Expendables 4. Put it that way.
Yeah, so obviously not very well liked by critics.
No.
Will we think differently? Let's find out. I guess one thing we should add, I don't think any of our A to Z movies had a 0% Rotten Tomato score.
No, yeah, I don't think so.
No.
I
The
think
Kill
that's
List
the
was
first
quite
time.
high, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it was on Letterboxd. It was
I
at least
can't
high
remember.
on. It was high on Letterboxd. So I remember picking
Yeah.
it, or whoever. Oh, I picked it. And it was like, this could be decent, and obviously it wasn't. Kill List on Rotten Tomatoes has 79%. Fuck
Oh,
me.
wow.
That is actually insane to me.
That is insane. Yeah,
It's really not as bad as what you guys think. Well, the
Oh, it
second
really
half,
is.
anyway.
It really fucking
it
is
is.
shit.
It's
Um,
like a 30%
What
film.
was ever really? Oh, YOLO. I don't think they had one, did it?
I doubt.
No,
I doubt it.
I
And if
don't,
it
there was
does,
nothing on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think.
You only live one. Yeah, it doesn't have one, but that is probably the closest we got to a 0%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
if critics had reviewed it, that'd definitely be 0, if not minus.
I'd be stunned if it had 1%. Like, that's how bad it was.
Yeah. Yeah, some of that.
Okay, well, no one picked this film. Like, this is a Wheel of Cinema, so it doesn't matter who goes first. Let's start with you, Stephen. What did you think? In terms of spoilers, I don't think it matters. Maybe just give in a brief bit at the beginning, we won't. But then after that, we'll just go into it. So, as an overall sum of your thoughts, what did you think of Mission Alarum, whatever?
So I saw this literally about an hour and a half ago. I watched it with dinner. I quite like that it was 95 minutes. I mean, let's be honest, this is not a great film in any shape or form. This is pretty trash all the way through. I will say that I've seen worse movies. So I'll start with yeah. But I'll start with sort of maybe a couple of the positives, and there's not many, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm trying to be balanced in saying that I went into it thinking this is gonna be like absolute dog shit based on I'd read the Rotten Tomatoes reviews, I'd seen not read it before, but like I saw the score, so I didn't go into reviews, so I didn't want anything to be spoiled. But I was like, well, a movie that's got 0% critics and 15% audience score, we're in for a really, really rough ride. I don't remember at any point like being sort of bored, but I certainly didn't care about anything or anyone. And I think my main gripe with this movie, I actually think this movie has potential to be a really decent flick action movie, run of the mill. I think the problem that it has is that two parts. One, the plot is all over the place. The writing is dreadful, like absolutely dreadful. I think us three coming together could have written a better movie than what we actually see. There was part of me thinking, do I not really understand what's going on because I don't care, or is it just because it's so
I'm so
badly
glad you
written?
said that, because there was a point when they were saying names and I was thinking, I literally said out loud, like, what the fuck are we talking about right now? Like, I am so confused.
Exactly. So it took basically until sort of like 10 minutes to go.
Yes.
Where I then went, oh, that's what's going on. But because there was part thinking, right, well, you're all right, you're going up against this dude, and I don't remember his name, so that's the other thing. I don't all in. And then you're thinking, oh, okay, so he's going to team up with Sylvester Stallone, and they're going to take down the bad guys. And then I'm like, okay, so Sylvester Stallone is the kind of bad guy, but then we're going to team up and still take it down. Then you're going to team up with the bad guy, and then you're going to fight against Sylvester Stallone. And if you think that sounds confusing, that's literally what the movie does. It literally jumps between one thing to another thing to another thing without not really explaining very much what's going on. And I still couldn't work out, like, why was his wife protecting the guy that they go on that tour with? I don't think that's explained in any shape or form. Did he have previous military experience? I even reminded thinking, have I missed a scene? Is there something that I've missed?
So I'm going to jump in here again, because it's funny you mentioned that, because until I just read that description, I think he was the critical asset, but I didn't know that in the film. Like, I think that man they were hiding was the critical asset.
Yeah.
But that was not very well explained in the movie. Like,
no,
other than the fact that she was hiding him.
Yeah.
Because I had this thing that they were undercover, trying to blend in. So when he went off with her and she remained in the cabin, I thought it was just that they were going to like rush back and then break out of pretending that they're not spies. But I was like, well, I still don't get that whole aspect. So that's my main two gripes, and I think that's probably one of many reasons why many people absolutely hate the film, because it is the writing of the film is so bad. I mean, the most exciting bit was the opening title sequence. I actually thought that was pretty well done, considering that it's quite an indie film.
Yeah,
with the music in the background.
I didn't like it.
But,
yeah, I didn't either.
But I mean, it was something. It was better than having absolutely nothing.
I mean, it says a lot what you think about this movie if that's your favorite bit.
It's the one that stands out the most. And the only other positive I'll say is that some of the action moments were okay. Like when people getting shot in the head and the blood sprayed out, I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, it's people getting shot, so I quite like that in action. And those bits kind of, I was like thinking, oh, this is a bit like sort of Call of Duty, Fortnite, or like that's what I'm saying. I just looked at it on its own. Nothing to do with the story, nothing to do with sort of anything else. The other problem I had is I thought the acting was pretty atrocious across the board. I don't mean to be unkind. And I really like the wife because she was great as the leading person in the Scream TV series, but no. And Scott needs to go back to Clint and get some acting lessons, because it's bad. Even I mean, Sylvester Stallone, as he's got older, has done some rough movie. He's a weird one because he'll demonstrate something like in Creed, where he's absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
And even I know a lot of people hated the last
But that's
Rambo
just more
film.
Rocky, isn't it? It's more like he knows that off by heart. Like.
Yeah. And you can talk about like a lot of people absolutely hate like Rambo, particularly Last Blood, but I look at that as this is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting really over the top kills with a really shady plot. The problem with that is that in Rambo, the deaths are quite fun and funny. You don't get any of this in this film. Like the action's, it's so average. I've seen it 1.5 million times, but I think the action is slightly better in this film because of how bad the plot and the acting is. So when we get to the action bits, I'm like, that they're okay.
His character in this film is not a character that he should have played at all. Like that's complete wrong casting for that character.
No, absolutely. I mean, I will say the end bit, there was something which we'll get onto spoiler territory. I was still trying to work out like, okay, how is he going to get out of this when something happens to the main lead? And you're probably going to say that you saw that twist, so to speak, coming a mile away. But that, oh, maybe not. Okay, but
I've got thoughts on it. I didn't see it coming, but I've got my opinions on it.
Okay. So I get what they were trying to do with the end of it. But ultimately, it's weird because it kind of gets to an end, and I thought there was more. I mean, I'm happy that it ended. Don't get me wrong, but it felt like it ended like
it is very abrupt.
Something else, and I was like, wait, is that it? I thought I'll speed it to the end, see if there's like a post credits. No, so it's like just at the point where my interest was peaked, but I was starting to be like, all right, so are we gonna have this big epic showdown or something, which I probably would have criticized for the movie being too long. But the fact that it just ended, I was like, right, okay. So yeah, all in all, it's pretty all over the place. But what I would say is it's better than You Only Live Once.
I think we have a baseline now. Like,
yeah.
We know nothing. Well,
Definitely
if we see something worse than that, then we've really hit the barrel. But
I equated it to sort of, and sometimes you go to cinema and you don't think too much about a film. Sometimes you come out and you'll be pleasantly surprised. If I went to see that in the cinema, I would have come out and gone like, that was a bit shit, and then moved on. Didn't upset me. I'm not annoyed. Took 95 minutes out of my time, but I didn't find myself bored. I found myself annoyed at how bad the writing was, how bad the acting was, because I also think there was potential. There was potential for this film to be much better than what it could have been, which would have made the action sequences even better if it made sense. But like, even I think some of the actors in that film were probably thinking, what the fuck is going on? Because that is generally the consensus of the movie. Like, what on earth is happening?
So what's your score out of 10?
I'm going to go 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. What a start to the world of cinema.
Yeah, I know. It might pick up.
And my 3 points are, I would say, the opening titles and the action. And that's all this movie's got going for it.
Andy, what did you think of Alarum?
I'm going to have to disagree with Stephen because this film was fucking boring as shit. And how can you watch this film and not say it was boring? Because from the get-go, I was like, what the fuck is going on in this film? I agree with all your other points, like the writing was all over the place. Yeah. It was confusing, like the whole opening scene. I was like, part of me probably from the get-go anyway wasn't completely invested in the film. And I didn't look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, so I didn't know this was 0%.
Well, the only thing you would have known is the Letterboxd was shit because of what we're doing.
Yeah, Sally. But I sort of thought, I looked at the picture. I know sometimes action films, people can hate them because they're all very similar. Yeah. But I thought, you know what, it might just be one of those fun action films that people hate. It's 90 minutes, it's short, we get through it. It might be okay. I was quickly proven wrong that this was, I didn't realize action films could be this bad until I watched this. So that just sums it up. But yeah, no, I pretty much agree with all the Stephen points on this. Other than I didn't like the opening scene, like when she then pushes him out the window and lands on top of him. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? Because they're like fighting against each other and all of a sudden they're in love and married. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then all the sort of going forward, all the other sort of plot points in this film, the whole sort of secret agency, whatever you want to call it, like that all seemed pointless. Like Chester, he's he was pointless. Like all the characters in this film felt pointless. And like you said, with the main guy that was trying to protect, there's a part where he was like, "Oh, are you playing?" I can't remember what he said exactly, but he was basically making out, "Are you like targeting someone? Are you trying to find like the next mark?" And I was like, okay, so he doesn't know what's going on, but she does. But then they do know what's going on because then they're trying to protect him, or does he not know? And it's like
Yeah.
complete absolute mess of a film. Like I was so confused throughout, and I literally I was tired anyway, but I was watching this film and it felt so long. I literally fell asleep twice trying to watch it. It took me like forever to finish it. I probably missed key points, like, or if there was any key points, I don't know. There's only one bit, and when Stephen mentioned Call of Duty, the bit towards the end where you have like the AC-130, I'm going to call it. I don't know actually what it was,
It was just a
but
drone,
it sort of
wasn't it?
went into that like night vision mode. I was like, oh, this reminds me of COD, controlling the kill streak and trying to blow people up and shoot people. That was like the one positive from the film, where I was like, all of a sudden got distracted because I was thinking of Call of Duty. So I was like, okay.
It was also when they brought out the AA-12, and I'm just
Yeah.
those type of Call of Duty where you just get the massive shotgun out. I was thinking more with zombies, where you get like the shotgun and you pack a punch it, and you just kind of just wiping. Because like there's one bit I did laugh where this guy like gets shot, he just goes from one bit of the staircase to the other, and I'm like, well, maybe made me laugh in that sense. But you're thinking about all better either action movies or action video games rather than what's happening in the film. And to be honest with you, just to respond to your point, I don't know why I didn't find it like bored. I think I was probably entertaining myself watching it, thinking I can't believe how bad this plot is. And then, as I said, the action was just sort of respite from that, because those action scenes are not boring, but just because it's people getting shot, which is like quite a fun scene.
I just didn't think the action scenes were that good either, though. It was just like it was amateur stuff. Like,
yeah, there was nothing groundbreaking of it, but it could have been even worse than what it was. Those action set pieces. That's why I was saying like a positive. Like I've seen other movies that have been even worse than that. So it was nothing that I hadn't seen 1.5 million times.
The action scenes for me were like boring. They didn't add any intensity to the film. It was pretty obvious what was going to happen. There wasn't anything funny and exciting there. Like you said, it was confusing between the characters in terms of who's going to kill who. Because Chester, with his character, it's like he's obviously got this friendship with Archibald, and all of a sudden he's going against him, and then it all switches up throughout the film. And then you got obviously the main villain, Orlin, whatever his name is, again. There's a random scene, and I don't care if I spoil this very long because it's a shit film, so I'm going to say don't watch it. But there's a scene where they find the plane crash and he shoots the doctor. I'm like, what the hell did he shoot her? Like, I don't know if I missed something at that point.
I'm gonna have to argue with this one here. That was one of my favorite bits because it was just
but
it was the only bit where I was like, oh shit.
Sense. It did make me feel like that, because I was like, why did he just shoot her? Like, obviously that puts you on edge a bit because you're like, okay, he's not fucking around.
Yes, that's why.
But why shoot her out of everyone?
Like, because she lied. She lied to him.
Yeah. And he was trying to demonstrate to the group of like, don't mess with me, lie to me, because I will just shoot you clean. And I was a little bit like that. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ! All right.
I wanted so you have to go back of that.
And tell him like who has been captured, because even I like it. You mentioned that where he goes to her, "Is my wife alive?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, alive." Well, like surely you would have had a thing come through to say that he had just shot her. So you know the guy that goes under the bed, they were together. The doctor that then gets shot.
Yeah.
But there's literally, he asked her if she's still alive. And she said yes. Well, like 5 minutes before, her head's been blown off. And you know they were texting on the phone.
She didn't know. Well, if she did, she wasn't going to tell him. She wouldn't tell him because.
Yeah, and she wasn't texting Joe either. She was texting
Alarum.
What I assumed was higher.
Yeah, but they were both part of it, so I'm assuming he was seeing.
No, I don't think they were though.
He's not part of Alarum.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
Oh right. I mean, it shows how much
it's not it's not clear, but I kind of feel
it's not clear in any shape or form.
He says at the end he's not part of it. He quit. He wanted out, or whatever. But I got that from
that wasn't Alarum that he quit though.
Yeah, but he
quit the previous place that they said Chester for.
He gets asked, "Are you part of Alarm?" or whatever, and he literally says no.
Yeah.
Like, so there is. But I gathered from before then anyway that she was working alone because she seemed a bit sneaky with the old telephone thing, or radio, whatever it is. But that's why I was confused, because he's like, then are you after a mark or whatever? But then they're both working together with this couple, and it's like, who the hell is this couple?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then like the doctor just gets shot randomly, and then she's trying to protect this other guy, and you're like, why is she even protecting him? Like, why is he the asset?
Yeah,
Like,
it
none of that
it
is
would have
explained at all.
No.
It would have been
it
cool
would
if
have
we
been
knew that if he had some intelligence that they needed, whatever. But then you've got the whole side story of the flight pill thing as well going on. It's like, what's actually the main thing that the
and
story's about?
and you mentioned that sequence because it was that first bit of like, oh, okay, I'm intrigued now. There's a little bit of intensity there. If they had played more on that, then that's another area where they could have really improved. But it happens, and then it doesn't matter. And also,
Yeah,
I'm
but
thinking
then
he kept saying to like repeatedly go back to the cabin. I was saying, right, just go back to the cabin. Why are you staying with this guy? Like, that wasn't properly explained either.
No.
there's just so many confusing points, and leaving you talking about something like, I don't fucking know. But even the point as well with like his character being like the scary villain, whether I don't feel like that came across well enough in terms of the acting. And then there's a whole scene where he kills his own men as well, and it's like, oh come on, like if I was one of the other people standing behind it, I'd just shoot him so he doesn't kill me. It's like I just always think you've been hired, you're getting paid to do that. You're not going to take shit from like they're basically mercenaries, aren't they? The sort of army
Yeah.
people. You're being paid to be there. You're not. This guy's not in control of them.
And then
Like
he,
if I
he
just
then
saw him
get
shoot my own men or like people that were with me, like I'm either running or gonna shoot him myself.
on Wasted West, he then gets killed in the most like routine, boring, predictable way that I've ever seen. I'm thinking at least like make his death more worthwhile or a bit more sort of crazy with all the shit that he was pulling off. And it's like, no, we're just going to do a simple one shot. All right, cool, you're dead. Sweet.
So yeah, as you can tell, I didn't like this film from the very beginning. It was boring. I fell asleep twice. Do not recommend this film to anyone. I thought, wow, we can't have a film challenging You Only Live Once this soon on the Wheel of Cinema. I was starting to feel that way. But luckily, no film can be as bad as that unless someone gets their phone out and records the film. I gave it a 1 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I'm actually thinking 2 out of 10 is going to be a bit generous. I'm going to give it a 1.5 out of 10.
Oh,
What a start. What a start. Fuck me. It's only up from here, hopefully. I am going to disagree with you both straight away. Well, actually, not Stephen. I'm going to disagree with you, Andy. My favorite character in this film was by a mile Orlin. I actually thought
It
he
just
was.
seems like so obvious, man.
I know, and I kind of disagree with you, Stephen, because you said that the acting was bad. If there was one person
Well,
I said
great.
was decent, it was him. But I don't know if that's just
Yeah.
because he had the best role as well for me.
Mm.
I liked the scene when he randomly shot the French doctor because it surprised me. I was like, oh, okay, this is the kind of film
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
having. It never happened again. I just felt like when he was on screen, the film was better. And then I liked the scene when he shot his own people. Like I liked that, and he did a speech. I can't remember what the speech was, so it couldn't have been that good. But he said something. I was like, I like this. I like this guy. Like he's at least intimidating in some sense.
If I
Yeah.
could just interject, because my other thing is like I thought all the acts were terrible. He was a bit too pantomime-y for me.
I
That
can
was
see
my
that,
issue.
but I think
If he had
I think because the film is shit though. Like
Yeah, but I think if he had just like I didn't find him as menacing. I saw him that first scene where he shoots that girl, and I thought, okay, you're really menacing. And then that idea gives up the ghost about halfway through.
Yeah.
If he could
I
just
think
be menacing and not as sort of, it reminded me a little bit of like some of the villains from Resident Evil Village, where they should be a lot better than they are, because it's that whole you can be a pantomime villain and pull it off well, but if you don't pull it off well, it then becomes cheesy, predictable. And it might be that he's surrounded by terrible acting throughout the whole of the picture.
I think he should have spoke less, and then that would have been like that scene where you said he shoots the doctor. Like that was so random. It
it's
felt
almost like, oh, you've not seen it, but Gustavo Fring and Breaking Bad, like just gets there, does his thing, but doesn't actually say anything.
Yeah. Like I feel like if that whole scene where he shoots his own men, if he just done that, and all of a sudden all the other ones just fell in line and went straight into the hotel.
Yep.
Like it adds more to his character.
I think you could have done more.
Where all this, I feel like all the speeches and stuff, and like all the, like you say, the pantomime sort of shows, like just ruined his character a bit with the seriousness of it.
I can see that.
But what I would say, Welchie, he's probably a best of bad bunch. So I would agree with
Yeah,
that.
I'm
If
not
you have to
saying
pick one
he's.
person who is the best,
I'm
then
not
it's
saying
probably
he's getting
him.
the Oscar. I'm just saying, like, out of everything, I've put some cool moments down, and most of them are his.
Yeah.
The other moments I liked were with the main girl, Lara.
Yeah.
And I'm talking, these are literal scenes. Like, this isn't a good movie. There was
Yeah.
a
I
scene
think she was more
where
clever in the film, though,
I
wasn't
like
she?
her. That's
Like
what I'm
with
talking
all the
about. Her
bodies
clever
on top of her.
moments. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
one of them. When she put the bodies
Yeah,
on, I was
yeah.
like, what the
I
fuck is
like
she
that bit.
doing? I was
Yeah.
like, is she hiding? And then when she was
Yeah.
getting shot, I was
Yeah,
like,
that point, I was thinking.
that's pretty
Yeah.
fucking cool.
And I also thought when you saw like her face starting to become bloody based on the shots running down the
Again,
tail, I was
cool.
like, that's pretty
They
cool.
they had good moments, and when I say good,
Yeah.
decent moments. But I also liked when he said, "I'll message this thing," and she messaged it, and she obviously sent the code, which meant it blew up in their face. I was like, again,
Yeah.
a cool little trick. I like that side of things.
Yeah. I agree.
That's all I've written for good things.
The rest.
That is it.
Yeah.
I think this is a really ugly film to watch. It was really dull. Most of the film was like almost black and whitish. Like, it was really ugly to look at.
Oh, they
Yeah.
had those black and white scenes as well, where it
Well,
looked
what I
like
was
they
going
were going
but
back to the
but
past,
that
and
wasn't
you're
actually
like,
black and
what the
white. It was just so dull of a room and dull clothing they were
Yeah,
wearing.
it didn't make
Yeah.
And
it
then you
didn't make
didn't
any
even
sense
mention
why
those
they done that.
scenes in your review. I was thinking those scenes were so fucking
Yeah.
shit, and some of the
Yeah,
actors
they
in
were.
those scenes were unbelievably bad.
Yeah,
I put
especially the main guy of the
yeah,
I don't even know what the organization was called,
no,
but what they belonged to before.
they
Like the main
were.
guy in that was terrible.
We spent way too much time in those scenes,
Do you,
way too
Yeah.
often.
you know,
It was so annoying.
it got so bad that I was begging, when they bring in like that director general, I wanted him to like bring out a gun and just shoot him and do
Yeah.
something. And that would have made more sense because I thought to myself, okay, are we spending so much time in this office because we're going to see something where he's going to realize that this is a really corrupt organization and we're just going to shoot? And that would have been that would have been crazy. That would have been so unexpected. And no, he
Nothing.
walks away, and then it's just still this whole like, even to the point where he just sits there and he goes, oh, fuck, we've been double crossed and we haven't been double crossed. And then that guy with the glasses who was so fucking annoying of like letting him be like, it was like a really bad imitation of like Mr. Burns and Smithers from The Simpsons. That's kind of
Yeah,
the vibe that it gave me. And it ain't a good vibe when a movie does that, which is meant to be a really intelligent, smart action film.
there was just way too much time with them. Like, the scenes were long,
Yeah.
and there was too many of them.
Yeah, completely agree.
I said the ending was shit, and I think the story, as you've both said already, was
Mhm.
all over the place, not explained well. Every character seemed to have two different names, and no one ever knew. It took me ages to work out which one was which. They were saying Archibald. I was like, so which one's Archibald? Is that?
Yeah,
That's Joe, mate.
I know. Is that Joe, or is that Sylvester Stallone? Like, which one the fuck is which?
Yeah.
I gave up about
Oh.
halfway through. I was like, I don't care. This is too much brain power to use to try and keep up with what the fuck is going on here.
It's unbelievably dull and average. I wouldn't. Well, it's not even average. It's below average. My review on Letterboxd said that this movie made Back in Action, Cameron Diaz's movie last
Oh
year,
yeah.
look like a
Yeah.
masterpiece. And I realized that was my lowest rated movie from last year. So I think I gave it a 2.5.
That says it all, really.
What did I give it on here? I
Yeah.
reviewed it on here. I gave it a Back in Action. I've got to go really far. I gave it a 5 out of 10 last year. Like,
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Yeah.
that's how bad it was.
The scene where Chester arrives and he kills the pilot, like again, like it just felt so
Random.
pointless.
So random.
Why?
Yeah, like he didn't know who he was. Like I understand if he like doesn't want to give out his position, whatever. But it's just a civilian dropping it off. Basically, it's like getting an Uber thinking they know who it is. It's like and then
I didn't
getting
even know
killed for
that
it.
was. I didn't even know that was the pilot until Chester actually said that. 'Cause I was
Again,
thinking,
yes,
why am
I
I
agree. I didn't know.
Why am I just seeing a random
To
dude
be
come
fair, it
out
did
like
look like a
finishing his
pizza
six?
delivery guy.
Yeah.
He did. I thought it was like a dude coming out of like in a restaurant, and then he just
Yeah.
like falls to the floor, and I'm like, why are we looking at that?
Yeah.
And then when she says, I was like, oh, that's your pilot.
I did
Why?
think that was the pilot, but I could
I didn't.
easily see why you guys would think
Yeah.
that was not the pilot.
a random
and was just a
dude.
random guy.
Again,
But it just made me think, like, why did he kill him? Like, there's no
Yeah,
need for that. It's like they're just chucking things in to make it look cool, and yeah, it wasn't.
I think they really should have played more on All In being this big bad guy, because even Chester said, when he said, "Oh," I think Joe said, "Oh, All In's here," and Chester
Yeah.
said, "Oh, they're gonna have to start paying me more." So it's almost like this, like, oh, All In's this guy that they all know and fear, So let's
Yeah.
let's dive into that more. And instead, they just dropped the ball
They'll start
massively
teaming
with
up with
that.
each other.
Yeah.
The second scene where they go to dinner with that couple, I literally said out loud earlier, I was like, "Oh, this acting's bad. This acting's bad." I knew it from like the second scene where they talk about like, "Oh, are you gonna have the OCD? Am I gonna have the OCD?" And I'm like, "Yeah, all right." You can
Before I-
tell very quickly that
Yeah.
this acting is so wooden and
But
shocking.
there was the worst bit. There was a bit where there's multiple. So this is a really shit film. There's the
This
bit
is turning into
when
like a nigga review.
the helicopter crashes and they hear gunfire, right? So
Yeah.
the woman
Oh,
and
what's that?
the high, yeah, he's like, "What's that?"
Oh, it's nothing.
It's, yeah, but it's like, "Oh, that's probably them, isn't it?" It's like you would be a lot more concerned. Like what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would
His
be.
reaction was
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, is that them?" Oh, fucking come on, put some effort into your fucking acting.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't normally like saying like actors are bad and stuff. Like even Yolo, I was like, I don't want to like be horrible to anyone, but this guy was fucking dreadful. This high
Yeah.
critical asset, wherever he was. God.
It wasn't great. And so just before I forget, I sent obviously some pictures into our group chat before the
yes.
podcast.
Oh,
I was talking to Biggs. He messaged me about the film because he was watching it, saying how bad it was. So
I'll
I'm
read his
interested
review
to
in a
see what he said.
second. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what he said. But he was like, he started talking about Homeland, and I was like, what the fuck are you going on about? He's like, Homelander's in the film. I can't remember his name. He's like Anthony, whatever. And it's like he's not in the film. I was like, I would recognize if Anthony Starr was in this film because I love him in The Boys and other TV shows.
Is it
And I was
Welchy,
like,
ain't he?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, he plays the main character, the main guy character. I was like, what the? I was like, that looks nothing like it. I
So
was like, how can you think that's
Hang on, let me
Anthony
bring up.
Starr?
I need to bring up the picture again just to see.
Yeah,
I said,
it's-
I'm gonna out you on the podcast.
so Big C gave me his review, then sent me a separate message afterwards saying, "P.S. Whatever Andy says on the podcast about me is false."
I will say in Biggs' defence,
No.
I can see
No,
a
no,
slight,
no way.
a slight resemblance.
said more like Chris Evans,
Very
if
slight.
anything.
Yeah,
There was
more
like-
like Chris Evans, but not
It-
Chris Evans.
yeah. There was like, he looked nothing like Anthony Starr in like either, no matter what you've seen in him, or especially what like even what he looks like now, you can tell that's definitely not Anthony Starr.
I know
There's
that
not
wasn't him.
even.
But I can see the resemblance.
No,
I'm trying to help
you
you
can't,
out,
no.
Bexy. It's fine.
There's no
Don't you worry.
Anyway, I don't really want to talk about this movie anymore. It is shit. Well,
Yeah.
actually, one other scene was when they're coming down with the shotguns down the hotel, wherever it was,
Yeah,
and there's a hole in the wall, and he's shooting them. Like they will shoot at the wall and then stop shooting, and then he'll go out and like shoot them, but like,
Yeah.
really slowly. But he'll be there, and they'll still be shooting, but like missing. It's like
Their
aim
I
wasn't
get
very
that he's
good.
got what you call it, plot armor where he can't get killed. Like obviously, I get it, but fucking come on, make it look a bit more realistic. And then there's a
They
bit
could've
where
even, like,
he
got him
runs
in
out of
the
ammo.
arm.
He runs out of ammo, and the way he chucks his gun, it's like, oh, I was like, oh, it's just so awkwardly bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I've given it a 3. So on our scale, 3 is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 is awful.
Don't make me have the high score, Welchie. Please go with me on a 3.
I'm not going to
3
say
is
it's
so
awful
high,
because
man.
I genuinely found those moments that I said decent.
And that's why I said there was a couple of moments that piqued my
Yeah.
interest. So it wasn't awful, it was bad.
And all in,
It
I
was
could
awful.
see so much potential with that character. I know they didn't go fully into it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say,
If you're talking to someone at work, describe this film, go, is it? It's a bad film.
I'd say it's shit.
Would you say?
I'd say,
it's a bad film.
I watched this film. It was really shit. So I'm gonna stick with 3. I'll stick with 3. It would. I wasn't gonna go as low as 2. I was only go 2.5. I'm not gonna say you've been harsh, Andy. Like, any score below 4 is
Yeah.
an assist. Like I think that's about right.
Yeah.
So they
Although
had
the fact you fell asleep twice watching this is mental.
yeah. Obviously, you enjoyed it a lot
I
less
was-
than we did.
Yeah. I was
Um,
just generally tired anyway, so any film
True.
that was going to be this shit would have put me to sleep. But
So that gives us an average for our first movie on the Wheel of Cinema of 2.5.
that is
Um,
crazy.
Which, by the way, would have been second last on our A to Z series. So
Wow.
Oh,
That is
just
a
bad.
behind you, only live one.
what a start.
What did Bixie say, Welchie?
Yes,
like his
so
review?
Bigsy's review is, and I apologise for the language, fuck me, what a shit film. Some of the
Nice.
worst CGI, and I'm guessing he means like the bullets and stuff and like the people's heads getting shot. and directed action scenes I've seen. And I thought Lance, how do you remember his name? Lance in You Only Live Once was good at not getting shot. So if you remember him in that film,
Yeah.
dodged every fucking bullet. Joe was amazing in this. There was one point, even Joe and Chester was running out of the house, shotgunning. So yeah, basically what I said, shotgunning soldiers, and one standing at the street door behind them was just staring at them. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like he just waited to get a shot.
Yeah.
Story was rubbish. The budget must have went on the actors. Gets a 2 out of 10 for me. I was considering a 1, but I can't put this on the same level as You Only Live Once. I mean, You Only Live Once is 0.5, but
We've really
Yeah.
got a benchmark of any movie that's worse than You Only
It's
Live Once.
bad, isn't
We'll
it?
probably end our podcast. Let's be honest.
it's always going to be. It's really bad. It's not as bad as You Only Live Once, but it's really bad.
Yeah.
It will be
Gonna say,
bad,
like, I want to, in a weird way, I want to try and find the film that is worse than that,
God,
just
I
because I
don't.
would be curious to see how bad a movie could be to top that.
Yeah. I don't know if we ever will.
The only good thing is our next film can't be that bad, and we're gonna remove that rating from the next
Yes,
spin.
so we'll go into it now.
That is true.
I need to change it, so I need to share the screen with you guys.
I forgot about that we lose that. So yeah, we wouldn't be in that position of
We're
having to
losing
pick
all
a-
three. So we lose the genre, we lose the year, and we lose the rating. So we can't have the same
think-
thing 2 weeks in a row, 2
I
episodes.
think
in a
that
row.
will only be a positive, really. to be
On
honest.
this one, it will be.
And this one
yeah.
it will.
Yeah.
But when we get like the 5s and we don't get it again, it's like, ah, shit. we're gonna-
Yeah.
But there's
yeah.
I always say
There's a lot of
anything
3 to
anything
3.5.
2.5 and above is probably a decent watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, right. Let me just share my screen with you guys. So what I haven't taken them out. So if we roll it and it hits it, we'll just roll again.
Well, just yeah. Makes sense.
Share screen. So that goes to you two,
It's the rollover.
and then let's get it on the podcast. Hang on, Shin Square.
All right. I'm gonna say,
It must be
what do I want?
this one.
What horror?
I'm gonna say thriller. It's gonna be the first.
Okay.
Or musical?
So, by the way, write in, guys. If you look at our genres there, you can see them right there. If there's any that you think we should add to this, just let us know in the comments or Discord, because we just chucked a load in and there's enough there to get us through. But if we're missing anything obvious, then obviously let us know. Right, let's spin.
Oh,
So remember, if it hits action, we will respin again. Don't be musical.
Oh,
Don't be
please.
musical.
Please.
It's going to be musical. Oh, I said one of the two. I said it was going to be either horror or musical.
That is my least favorite genre. I hate it.
it's my least in that list. Yeah.
Okay,
I quite like
In terms
musical.
of films, I don't mind shows, but films.
this
over
has to
musicals.
be 3.5
Well,
and
not all of them,
above.
but
Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm going to be fucking bored out of my mind. Like, oh, man.
there's
It depends what musical we select.
But
I feel
that's
like
what I
I've
mean.
seen
If the
more musicals
rating,
than you
if we get 2 to 2.5, this is going to be bad.
yeah. I'm
Oh,
hoping there's the right wheel spins for it to be something like Wonka that we can choose. I don't actually
or
mind that.
what's that one everyone loves? Greatest Showman, something like that. Like
Great
I've not
Showman,
seen, I've
yeah.
not seen it.
Or any of the two Mamma Mia films, Hairspray. There's potential.
Do-
There's
Don't
potential.
say that.
Would like Bohemian Rhapsody count,
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody's musical.
even though it's like a
Biopic.
biopic?
Yeah, I would count
That's
the
not-
musicals.
It's not musical.
I
What,
consider
A
musical
Star
to
is Born?
be.
That's not musical either.
We're gonna have to have an argument about this because it would. I guess it would when we're filtering on Letterboxd. That would be
The musical,
Yeah,
yeah. Those films shouldn't show up anyway when we filter it down to musical.
We'll
The
find
musical
out.
is a film that has scenes that like jump into. They play the scene out as like a song, don't they? Whereas those films are just about music.
Like Mamma Mia,
I
basically.
mean, there are
Yeah, like
performances
yeah.
in them, but
No,
yeah,
but
you're
they're
right. Musical.
They're just,
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm trying to throw those ones in because I'd like to watch those
Yeah,
too.
I want
so-
them
all right.
to. Right, this is going to be the year we are watching.
Oh God.
If we get 80s, I am fucking.
No,
To be fair, we've got Saturday Night Fever.
Stop. Okay,
That's good. That's good.
we'll take that. 20 to
Yeah.
24 musicals. I hope there's some good ones in that bracket.
There should be.
And now Letterboxd rating. Let's go.
Hmm.
So remember, we can't, even though we watched 1.5, we rolled a 0 to 1. So I'm
Yeah.
removing
So we
0
just
to
can't have
1.
that one again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Please
we
don't be 1
can, we
to
can have 1 to 2.
2.
Higher, 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 higher. We'll take it. We'll take
Okay,
it. We'll
that's
take
right. I like that.
Okay,
Okay.
3.4. That's done us all right then.
it. We'll take it. Cool.
Sweet.
Well, we are going to take a very quick break. In that break, we're going to have a quick look on Letterboxd, see if we can find something we can watch. If we can't, like last time, we'll go off and do it offline later on and announce it on the next episode and on Discord. Yeah, so for now, that is our review of Alarum. When we come back, we're hopefully going to announce the movie we're watching. If not, we're still going to have more podcasts to go. We're going to have a little fun segment, not quite a quiz, but just a fun little new segment I've got. And also, we're going to talk about what else we've been watching. So be right back. Welcome back to the Late Night Movie Podcast. We've spent about 15 minutes deciding on a movie for the next Wheel of Cinema. So, as you know, the categories are musical, which I'm not happy about. The years has to be in the 2020 to 2024 range, and the Letterboxd score had to be between 3 and 3.4. Now, we had a bit of a debate over what a musical is. Does films like Bohemian Rhapsody, I know that didn't fit the year or the rating, but those kind of films, biopics, do they count? We kind of settled on no. Maybe we add another column,
I
another
think we should
category
add
for
one for that.
biopic or
Yeah.
something, but that's a really
Yeah.
narrow. I don't know. We have to figure that out because otherwise we're not going to hit those movies. But anyway, we found 2 movies that fit the kind of categories that were streamable. There was a few that we couldn't find. I can't remember what they were called. No, High Note, was it? The High Note was like the one
Yeah.
I found, or you found, whatever it was. Anyway, the 2 films are Wonka by Timothy Chalamet, a couple years ago, 23, I think.
24.
24. And then
Oh.
Over the Moon, an animated Netflix film that came out in 2020. We have decided on Over the Moon. The main reason being, Andy has seen Wonka. So none of us had
Yes.
seen Over the Moon. So we are going to hopefully be over the moon once we've watched it.
Yeah.
So that's the next film. We're not reviewing that until early May, so there's lots of time to watch it. It's on Netflix, so hopefully most people listening have Netflix and will be able to watch it. So, the film's called Over the Moon. It's an animated musical movie. So there we have it. We know what we're watching. I now have a fun little segment. I haven't decided whether I'm going to call this like a
Ooh.
quiz. We need to determine what we're going to do with the quiz, obviously, now. So this isn't going to any points, but it's just fun for you two to compete on this category.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've done it before, really. It's just called Bad Reviews. I have 3 reviews
Okay.
of reviews that are bad, and you need to tell me what movie they're talking about. It's simple as that.
Okay. Sounds fun.
Okay. So the first.
Your hand up first if you think you got it.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, there's no
Yeah.
actual points here, but it's a little fun game to
that's
play.
fine.
So, first review. This is a 1-star review on Letterboxd.
These are always trick questions, man.
Frustrating to sit through. A painfully stretched out, structure packed with pointless flashbacks and an exhausting number of fake endings. Andy.
Oh, I think I went too early there.
I can read the rest.
Last bit.
I can read the rest. There's nothing serious. At some point,
Yep.
I just wanted this bland pseudo Pixar mess to finally be over.
Okay.
Pseudo Pixar. It basically contains everything I dislike about cinema. That's the review.
Shit.
What did you say? Pseudo Pixar?
Pseudo. I am
What's
gonna, I'm gonna fucking read the description on Google because I don't want to make a mug of myself. The pseudo is like not genuine or like a sham, like a rip-off.
Oh, so it's a fake Pixar film, basically.
It's saying it's Pixar-like, but not as good. I don't want that
So
to
it's not
lead you.
gonna be-
It
it's
doesn't
not-
necessarily mean it's animated either. Like I don't want you to think
Yeah,
that it's
yeah.
animated.
The ending part's got me confused.
I feel like
But-
I've said that on a review as well. That there's
yeah, that's
so
what I was
many different
thinking. I've heard that
endings.
recently, and
But
I know
what
what you're
film
like. I was originally, before you got to that part, I was thinking Project Hail Mary is what that was coming out as, because I know you love that film. You potentially would have like searched for it and gone for like low reviews. but the ending part like didn't have multiple different endings, unless it did. Unless people think the sacrificing bit did. I'm gonna say Project Hail Mary.
Okay, Stephen, you was on that. Was you going to say something as well?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that I've reviewed a movie and I
Yeah,
said
you
that.
said it
I-
about
What movie did I?
because me and Andy disagreed with you, I think.
Yeah, I know we did. Yeah, I remember. It
Maybe
wasn't that
last
long ago
year,
either.
I
No, it
think.
was recent. It was recent.
It was
You said
very
What was
it.
it?
recent. Yeah.
You said it
It
about.
was.
I'll find it in a second.
Don't know if this is basically going to be my
Oh,
answer.
Return to Silent Hill.
Yes, you said it's about Return to Silent Hill.
Oh, okay, I'll go Return to Silent Hill
We
then.
didn't actually disagree with you. I don't think. I think I told you that the game had those things in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that Project Hail Mary is correct.
Oh, let's go.
But
um,
different ending. What the
Because
fuck?
like you got the yeah. I won't go into spoilers actually because it's pretty spoilers
yeah, I
still,
completely
and
disagree
the
with
film's
that.
out. But
But I think
What
I disagree with it.
disgraceful
I can
review.
see
I can
what
see what
they
they're
mean.
saying because you think that
Yeah,
he's going one way and ends
Yeah,
up going the other
nah,
way.
yeah.
that's a shit review. I'm sorry whoever wrote that,
It's an
but
absolute disgrace.
One
And I was
star.
getting really
disgraceful
angry
review.
because there's loads of 1 stars. I was getting really angry. I was like,
I don't get
I
how
disagree
people
with
can rate that
everything
one
about
star,
this.
man.
No.
Yeah.
If you don't like that film, then you just cinema is not your bag.
No. Okay. Review 2. It's free, by the way. I think I'm out of touch or I just don't get it. I'm going to butcher this word. The gratuitous violence and unnecessary torture porn is Eli Roth levels of unnecessary and uninteresting. I tapped out.
Oh,
I tapped out at 15 minutes because it was insufferable, Stephen.
Oh, I was about to say sorry, but I've paused because you said it's Eli Roth type, so I'm not.
I'll read it again. I think I'm out of touch or I just don't get it. The gratuitous violence and unnecessary torture porn is Eli Roth levels of unnecessary and uninteresting. Tapped out at 50 minutes because it was insufferable.
there's
15 minutes.
again, there's another film where I feel like it's being described as torture porn, and I can't think of what it is. But I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to say Scream 7.
Oh,
Stephen, do
I
you
was
want to have a
thinking
guess?
that. I was actually thinking that. I'll go Saw X.
Okay. You are both incorrect.
I
This
feel like it's going to be
film,
something else to know.
this film was 28 years later, The Bone Temple.
That's crazy.
One star
What rating was
again.
that?
1 star
One
again.
star. You got to be kidding me.
I'm noticing a theme of movies that you're picking here, Welchy. They're all
It's a
fucking
trick on the third
recent.
film, though. It's going to be the complete opposite now.
Third review. This is literally just misery porn. I want to give this a better review because of the acting and cinematography is amazing, but sitting through 2 hours of hearing slurs to end up with him as the necessary evil guy was just fucked. 1 star.
I feel like we've seen this as well.
Yeah, I feel like we've definitely seen something like that. Can you read it again, Welchy?
Yeah, I'll read
Sorry.
it again. This is literally just misery porn. I want to give this a better review because the acting and cinematography is amazing, but sitting through 2 hours of hearing slurs to end up with him as the necessary evil guy was just fucked. I read that word for word. If there's any bad language, like bad grammar, that is not me.
Necessary evil guy.
I'm so glad that this isn't going towards any points because I'm doing awful. What the? Again, I feel like it's definitely a movie that we've seen.
I can confirm
Yeah.
we have all seen this movie.
We've all seen it. Okay.
Hmm.
As
If
much as it
if
goes
it's
to
a film
cinema,
this
I
year, you
suppose.
haven't seen many this year.
Yeah, that's
Could
what
be
I'm trying
last
to
year,
say.
though.
Hmm.
I know 2 of the films you've seen. Well, I know 3 of the films you've seen. What are the other 2?
Mine's literally gone so blank.
I think this is going to be from last year. Maybe.
This film did
I'll
not
go.
release in the last 2 years.
Oh, okay,
Hasn't
so it's an older
released.
film.
Not in the last 2 years, no.
Okay.
That doesn't mean it's the
Hmm.
third year. Basically what I'm trying to say is don't
No,
think
yeah,
too
yeah.
recent.
It's not too recent. Okay.
But we have watched it in the last 2 years.
think it's kind of our A to Z of movie reviews.
Yeah, it is, isn't
ones
it?
that have been selected, but which fucking one?
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to hurry you up.
Okay, I'm gonna take a guess. Kill list. It's just a random guess from the list.
I
Steven?
guess actually, I will go with Locked In.
Yeah, you're both incorrect.
Uh,
So the amazing acting and cinematography should have helped. Whiplash.
oh, shit. Whiplash. What rating did this get?
1 star. Again, I was so angry with these
Wow.
reviews. But yeah, the necessary evil guy was obviously
Yeah.
Yeah,
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can, as soon as you say it, you can see
I'm
it.
gonna-
But
It's a
I
tough, it's
forgot
a
about
tough
the
cat.
actor
It's a
part,
tough
I won't lie.
yeah.
segment because it could be any movie ever made. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at least you got one there, Andy. Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, well done,
Thank you.
Andy.
Thank you.
This was more to annoy everyone that these people have these bad reviews of these great movies.
I know.
I mean, that's 2 movies that I gave a 10 for, and then one that I gave a 9. I think I gave
Yeah.
Whiplash a 9. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
There's
Absolutely
certain films
crazy.
where you look at it, you think, okay, I can understand some people's like rating for it being a bit lower, but these films are like masterpieces. Like the fact they've gone
Yeah.
from like 5 to 1 or 10 to 1, whatever rating it's on. Mental.
I like go on Letterboxd and read the bad Project Hail Mary reviews. Like none
Yeah.
of them make sense. I'm just like, no, you're wrong. Like you say, sometimes I can be like, I can see your point, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Just no.
No,
Yeah,
there is no
it's-
point.
No.
Again, the only thing that I can see in the whole Project Hail Mary is I think it's a bit too long, but outside of that, there is nothing else you can say
But
bad
you don't
about
give it
that
a
film.
1 star for that. You know what I mean? Like,
No, not a
Yeah.
1. Maybe 4.5.
Yeah. Cool. I'm going to try and mix up the segments for a while until we decide what we're doing with the quiz. But hopefully that was good for everyone listening. If you've figured them out listening at home, let us know. And if you disagree with their reviews, I'm sure you do. Let us know. Okay, what we've been watching. We don't get to do this much anymore. So this is nice where we've got about 20 minutes or so to just talk about what we've been watching recently. You both have been to see. It's called The Good Boy, and it's also
Yes.
called Hill.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
had a name change twice because it was originally called Good Boy. And then obviously you had Good Boy, the dog film that came out last year. So they changed it to The Good Boy, which they didn't show that on the screen actually when we went to the cinema. It just said Good Boy when it came up on the.
Okay.
I was getting
on,
worried,
like,
thinking, oh my god, we're seeing the dog again. No.
And then, but it's actually being renamed to Hill. At which point it was called that, I'm not sure, but that's what it shows as on Letterboxd.
How that title connects, I'm not going to give any spoilers in this view, but I don't quite know how that title connects to the film. But
It does connect to the film in terms of like you see it in the trailer. So obviously in the trailer you have the boy who's chained up down in their cellar. Hill is obviously you say to the dog Hill boy, so
okay,
they're basically telling him to Hill to behave. So
all right, fair enough.
that's how I think it linked. Anyway, it might be they might have just chucked out a word and thought we'd call it that, but
I was still trying to work out what the fuck that title's got to do. But I mean, I can see it, whether it's actually the case or not. But yeah, we'll stick with The Good Boy.
Do you want to review it? I was just going to
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Andy, do you want to take lead?
Yeah, so me and Stephen went last week to watch this.
When did it release? Last week as well? Did it release?
No, it's
recently?
been
I
out
don't
for
actually know when it dropped because
Okay.
there hasn't been many shows of it in the UK. Not that I've noticed anyway. I sort of feel like it came out, checked the cinema, and thought, fucking hell, the last day to watch it is Thursday, and then it's not out anymore.
I
saw
think
there's
it
posters
came
of
out,
it in London.
like-
Like, posters promoted, not loads.
I think
but
it. I
some.
think
Yeah,
it came out
there's a lot of
not
trailers for it. So
this Friday, the Friday before. I want to say like maybe like the 20th, the 19th, around about that time. I
yeah,
think it's only been out for about a week, and now it's no longer. There's no screenings, at least
In the UK.
in our local Odeon. So we got the last screen, which was like a 9 o'clock showing on Thursday.
So
Yeah.
it's got a
Yeah,
3.5 on Letterboxd.
yeah, it's got good ratings, and it says it came out in 2025. So I'm assuming that came out in America first, and then it's launched in the
What's-
UK. So
What was that on Letterboxd? You saw that, or
yeah,
sometimes
Letterboxd,
with
it says
Letterboxd, if a
2025
film has
release.
been at like a film festival,
A festival,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm not sure. Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure. But you'd think because it did have a rating and stuff before it came out here as well. So that's what made me think it's been out,
Fine.
released earlier in a different country. And it's got good reviews. It's got good ratings on Rotten Tomatoes as well. So that's probably why they thought, oh, this launch in the UK as
It's,
well.
it's,
But
it's one of those films that I imagine will come to streaming platform and be one that a lot of people will then click on. Like if you saw it, browse on Netflix and saw the trailer, you'd be like, oh, that looks interesting. We'll give that a watch. I would also say there is an award that this movie wins, and it wins the award for most opening companies that I have ever seen in a
No.
movie.
That's so weird you said that,
Yeah.
because when I saw Andy's score on Letterboxd come up, I thought, what the fuck
Yeah,
is Hill? Then I clicked onto it and I was like, oh, that's The Good Boy. I got confused. I looked at the reviews and
yeah.
the first review said something like, you are not prepared for how many
No,
company
yeah,
logos you're going
honestly.
to see at the beginning.
I was
It-
like sitting there thinking, like, when is the film about to start? And then it pops up with another company. Like, it's the longest intro of
I think
company
Wow.
promotions
I
ever.
felt I
Like,
felt like every single company in the world. I
yeah,
actually broke the code of conduct, and I leaned over to Adam and went, "We're still going with all these fucking
yeah,
companies. What the hell is this? I've never seen anything." So it felt like an eternity, but it was at least
yeah.
2 minutes of the
It's,
runtime. It's just showing
it's,
these
yeah.
companies.
It's the last thing you want when you go into the cinema. You've just had all the adverts, you just had all the trailers. You want the film to like go straight away, and you have about literally felt like 20 minutes of different company names popping
Not
up.
only did
I'm
it
like,
have the
when's
companies,
the film gonna start?
it then had the opening credits, which then said all of these companies to
Again,
present.
yeah.
So not only did it show on
Yeah, yeah,
screen,
So
it had like another like 4 pages of who was doing this movie.
it's almost impossible to find the budget for this movie because you search The Good Boy and it comes up with the budget for The Good Boy last year, which, by the
yeah.
way, 70,000 for that. That's insane to me. Anyway,
Really?
yeah. And then you type in heel budget and I'm just getting a load of shoes on my screen. Um, so I can't find the budget,
That's
but
funny.
the box office for this film is atrocious. It's
Oh, okay.
500,000.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Is it,
Yeah. So it
does it say
says
where else it's been released then?
earliest release was Poland. Um,
Okay,
on basically
that pretty makes
the,
sense actually.
the day before Valentine's Day. Domestically or US, this film came out on the 6th of March and has made £5,000,
Okay.
$5,000.
Wow.
So what?
Oh, wow.
About 50 people or 500 people went to see it,
Yeah, a
or
lot.
less. And in Europe, UK did about 250,000 and Russia did about 250,000. So basically, UK and
When
Russia
did
have given
The
us some
best.
money. Yeah, but not
when
much.
did it hit in the UK? Does it say
It
what?
says 20th of March.
Okay, yeah. So literally just over a week, and it's now
It's
out
already
in the
gone.
months,
Yeah.
which is nuts.
I'm hoping it had a small budget of less than 500k.
Well, this
Yeah.
film had Stephen Graham in, so
Yeah, I doubt it's that
I
small.
don't see it having a small budget.
But hopefully they've got some deal with Amazon or someone to
Yeah, yeah.
make some
Well, like
money
with
up.
Stevie Graham's connections after adolescence, I could imagine it coming
Netflix.
onto Netflix. Yeah.
Sorry, anyway, carry on the
Yeah.
review.
Yeah, so after the very long intro of company names, we finally got to the film, and yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It's a sort of different take on films I've seen before. It was a completely sort of new story to me, different plot line. Stephen Graham, he keeps seeing him pop up in movies and TV shows a lot over the last couple of years, and I think he's doing an incredible job. I feel like he does another different character in this film as well, where you're almost sort of intimidated by him, but not in a like the way that his character is portrayed. You're sort of almost scared of him, but he doesn't actually show too much sort of violence, and he's not angry in the film. He's like very calm and collective, but that sort of presence about him, you're thinking, could he switch at any point here? So yeah, the basis of the film actually, before we go into it, obviously this family, Stephen Graham's the dad, you got the mum, and then a boy, and they kidnap this, and probably get this from the trailer. They kidnap this boy who's also in Mobland. I don't know if you guys have seen Mobland, but he plays the dickhead kid in Mobland. So it's pretty good. It was pretty good casting pick from them to choose him.
Can you
So yeah,
tell us
he played.
why is that a spoiler? Why they kidnapped him? Is that a spoiler? Or
No,
do you
just
even
because no, I think it's in the plot. He's a criminal. He's just a criminal, and he's like a drunk. He's like a drug party lad, and they don't actually say in the film why he gets
You
selected, but
you
they
see
just hint at him being a
you
criminal.
see him at sort of the beginning of the film. It's not, and this is not really spoiled, but like he is having these drug infused parties. You know, he's shagging everything with a pulse. He's creating a lot of commotion, and then he sort of gets so drunk that he basically collapses onto a heap in the floor. and then you just see someone in a car pulling up, open the door, and then he gets pulled. It does get revealed later in the film as to why, because of stuff that they show him.
Okay.
But again, that would be a spoiler.
Yeah, I
But
don't want
so
spoilers.
it does.
Yeah.
It does make sense
Fine.
halfway through the film.
Okay. Good.
It's not
Why?
really a spoiler. They literally chose him because he's he's just a criminal, basically.
Yeah, but
in terms of the way he behaves. It's
there's
all
other
his
motives.
behavior.
Yeah, there's other motives that
Yeah.
the family have got. It's not just for that's like the prime reason. There's a lot more going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
But yeah.
So
But I don't feel like that's a major part of the film, though.
for people who might want to know who we're talking about, his name is Anson Boone. He's in the movie 1917.
Oh yeah,
is
yeah,
that
that's Sam
It's a war
Mendes.
film,
Yeah, Sam Mendes war film.
Yeah.
Yeah, great film.
and a load of other stuff which isn't really recognizable, but that's probably his most well-known role. What would you say he was in, Andy? A TV show?
He's in the TV show Mobland with Tom Hardy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so in that he plays a very similar character in terms of part of the family that he's with. He basically always does stupid shit and gets into trouble, and then Tom Hardy's character is like bailing him out. So like when I saw he was the character that's playing the person who they kidnapped to sort of put into their weird rehab sort of facility, not facility, but in their house. I thought, okay, that's a good casting, because the way that he comes across in Mobland, you're very much like you don't like him as a person, the way that he behaves and acting, and you sort of get that from the intro scene in this film, and then further into the film when they're sort of showing clips and stuff. So yeah, I thought that was a good casting. But yeah, it's a very weird film. Me and Stephen came out of it, and I was sort of saying to him, I liked it. I sort of liked the ending. The performances were good. There's still parts of the story where we're like, well, where you don't really sort of find out all the details to sort of why they're doing what they're doing. And yeah, it's a bit tricky because without those details, you're sitting there thinking like, oh, why did they go through all of that? Like, what exactly did they go through as a family for them to kidnap someone? You sort of get hints of what it might have been, but it's never sort of fully clarified throughout the movie. So it does give that bit up to sort of the way that you want to interpret. Obviously, I've interpreted it in a certain way, which I won't say. Stephen might have interpreted it a bit differently to me, but that's what I feel like we both got sort of the same feelings from it. But yeah, no, it's a really strange film. There's not really much to say about it in terms of like what it's about and like what happens, because it's just one sort of, it's just focused on them trying to fix this guy, fix this boy. They want to fix him, and the main part about it I don't want to say, because it's sort of that's almost sort of ruining the whole film, sort of the concept and idea of it.
I agree. I think me and Andy are pretty much aligned with our thoughts. So I equally also enjoyed the film. I think it is one of those where the less you know about it, the better. I kind of think that even that with the trailer, and we see so many trailers that it doesn't matter, but I imagine that if I go back to the trailer, it probably gives a bit too much away, where if you went into this not knowing anything,
I don't think I've seen a trailer, so that's probably good for me.
Yeah, I think you'd walk away going, whoa, because what I think the movie does quite well is it's one of those where you change your perceptions on the characters. So, originally you'll, even though this kid is essentially a criminal and he's a horrible character, and you see more and more of his behavior throughout the course of the film that really makes your blood boil. But naturally, because he's chained up, you're thinking that he's the protagonist and that the villain is Stephen Graham and his wife. There's one moment where Stephen Graham unleashes this full force of violence, but then what Andy said earlier was absolutely correct, where like you're kind of sitting there thinking, is he going to snap? And he only acts in violence as a form of a punishment, basically. But then over the course of the movie, you then start to, in a weird way, warm towards this family. Although we both came out and went, there's probably nicer ways of trying to get this message across. It's a bit of an extreme way of doing it. So that is always sort of in the byline of it. But I felt that as we got into its later stages, I felt the movie was going to go one way. Me and Andy spoke about this, and then it didn't. And I originally came out of the screening going, oh, I'm not quite sure what I think about that. But then whilst I was then speaking with Andy, and then I've had a few days to ponder on it, I actually really like the ending. And I actually think that it does a really interesting job of, you can take different interpretations from it. But you also kind of understand the whole sort of family dynamic. And I think the fact that the movie is called The Good Boy, I think it's a very clever title because it kind of has a lot of different connotations of that. So interesting. And also Stephen Graham, I mean, what that guy can't do
I was
is
about to
nuts.
ask, what's his performance
Uh,
like, considering
He
he's coming off of
It's good. Yeah.
what's
The
yeah,
it?
way
he
he speaks in this film is crazy. Like he
yeah.
speaks completely differently in like to any other role that
There,
I've seen him in.
there's I don't know if he was in Boardwalk Empire as Al Capone. And there's like a sequence in Boardwalk Empire where his person that's working for, he's quite a big guy and he's got a BO problem, and he gets beaten up for it. And before even like Al Capone has an opportunity to speak to him, he goes back to the bar and just basically beats this guy to a pulp, gets a chain, just smashes it over his head 9 to 10 times, and says, "This is what happens when you mess with one of my employees." Doesn't even say that. So he's got that in him of that like fit of sort of rage. So all the way through, you're thinking he's going to do it. But even when he does it, it's not as sort of full-blooded as what you'd expect. So it's a really interesting performance. Also, there's like a maid in the film that comes to work for the family, and I thought her character is really interesting as well. Because
Yeah.
again, you're thrown into a situation where you're like, normally you would scream and run, but she's got other agendas and reasons as to why she doesn't do that. But it plays with that morality. You know, if you're in that situation, would you help the kid, or is there a reason why this kid's been chained up? So it does a lot of that throughout the film, and yeah, it's a very, very interesting. Definitely one that the more you think about it, the more interesting the movie actually gets as well.
Yeah, it's very clever in terms of like when, like Steven said with the maid, when they're sort of searching to hire a maid to obviously help out around the house, he's just very calm in sort of showing her around, giving her the tour of the house. It's quite a big house they live in, obviously. And then obviously they have this kid down in the basement. You're thinking, oh, obviously I'm not going to go down there or whatever. But he literally gives a full tour, and you're thinking he's doing this tour very calm and collected. The fact that he's just shown that they've got this boy locked up in the basement, but the way that they do it, obviously you find out further why. But yeah, it's when you're first watching it, you're thinking, what the fuck? Why is she not just screaming and running out of there as if that's like a normal thing that you usually see? And it's almost like she's sort of just believing that they've got him locked up because he's just misbehaving at the moment, like a boy or whatever. It's like, okay.
It also must have done its homework. It captures sort of the, you know, rowdy teenagers causing problems, and you know it's aware, it's obviously done its research for that, because those scenes in particular feel really realistic and kind of unexpected. How the movie opens was nothing like what I expected it to be in terms of that opening sequence before he actually is taken. But I thought that was really well done because it established the scene straight away. And it just, your guard is up throughout the whole of the movie, and your persona of people change as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of comedy in this film as well. There's several moments where we both laughed and stuff. There's probably things that you probably shouldn't laugh at, but
So what score would you both give it?
I went with an 8.5 out of 10.
Oh wow, very good.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And you're absolutely right, Andy. There was a few moments where some of the stuff that he was saying was so offensive, but it equally was absolutely hysterically funny.
Yeah, just it's not even to do with what he was saying. Obviously, there were certain parts of that we laughed at, but he's literally at a bus stop, pissing up the bus stop while there's two people waiting for a bus. So it's things like that. It's like stupid, shouldn't do it, but yeah, you're laughing at it in that sort of scenario. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So I was, if I gave it a 3.5, I'm still going to give it an 8 out of 10 on our rating.
Okay, so apologies to anyone if you heard any freezing or anything. Something went weird with my laptop. Andy, I think your review came through, but you gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
if that wasn't clear because the audio went funny, now everyone knows you gave it an 8 out of 10. Apologies, no idea what happened. Luckily, we didn't lose the recording. That's the main thing. I have not been watching much. I'm slowly getting through The Boys. Mostly because I'm going to say that I'm not watching much, and I'm going to say because I've been watching too much. Obviously, Paradise, but we're not going to talk about that today because we're reviewing that next week. So we won't talk about that today. Invincible, I've watched all 4 episodes. I am, as soon as they drop, I am on it. So that's been taken over The Boys. And I don't know if you guys have watched it last season, Last One Laughing. The
Oh, I
Amazon.
haven't.
It's on my list to
Definitely watching
watch.
that.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
been
Did
seeing
you
lots
watch
of
last year's
clips and
one
stuff
or?
of it. I did see
I
last
haven't.
year's one, yeah.
Okay. So season two's out. We've only watched half of it. We've not caught up, but again, just things that are stopping me watching The Boys. Um, but I'm over halfway through season two, so I'm hoping to finish season two. Maybe not this week. I don't know. Soon. When's it out next season, Andy?
8th of April, I think.
Oh yeah, okay.
Got about
I'm
8 days.
not going to be catching up. I'm hoping, and it's one a week.
They might release like two,
2 or
like
3.
Amazon likes to
Yeah,
release 2 or 3 at
yeah.
the start,
Like
and
what
then
they
it's
do with
one
your
weekly.
Invincible.
Yeah,
So yeah, I can't remember when I said we're gonna maybe review season 5. I got a lot of catching up to do. Put it that way.
you do.
But I'm enjoying it. It's good. It's not on the level of Invincible for me, but I'm hoping it will get closer to it at some point. But that's why I've been watching. No movies other than Alarum, unfortunately. Stephen, you've watched a few other movies. We've got about 6 minutes now. Do you want to quickly go through Mother's Pride?
Yeah, well, actually, I wanted to talk about one last deal, which was the Danny Dyer film, because I saw that
Oh
last
God.
week, and
Okay.
I know I'm actually
Marching
really
powder
excited.
all over again.
I'm excited to really talk about it. So I don't even think I saw a trailer for One Last
I've
Deal,
not even heard
to
of
be
this.
honest. I saw it pop up, and I went to, God, this must be about maybe a couple of weeks ago now, to sort of like a 9:30 screening of it. And I think it was like the last one, again, similar to what we had with The Good Boy, where it was literally there for a bit and then it went. So I expected this to be a standard Danny Dyer movie, full of action and laughs, nothing special, similar to what we spoke about in Marching Powder. I am pleased to confirm that this movie surprised me so much. And today it is the best Danny Dyer movie that I have ever seen in terms
I
of
won't
his
believe it until I
performance.
watch it. Yeah, I'm not going to
It
believe anything you say.
Better
it's
than Football Factory?
yeah, in terms of his versatility and the story, it is the
Mhm.
best Danny Dyer movie. Because although those movies are legendary, it's not really like a efficient sort of plot. Like it's him like that in The Business. I'm like, that is so Danny Dyer. So basically, this movie takes place in one room for the entirety of its 90 minutes. It does not leave
He's a football
an
agent.
office. Yeah, so basically, Danny Dyer plays this really slimy, quick-witted, funny, but rude football agent who is looking to get his current player a brand new deal. But this player is currently on trial for allegations of sexual assault. So he's hoping that his football player gets proven innocent to therefore get this new deal that's going to then make him a lot of money. In the meantime, he's trying to negotiate another deal with another football agent. So if his current player does get found guilty, he's got a backup. But then he basically starts getting blackmailed by somebody random regarding the current player that is on trial. And that's all I'm going to say in terms of plot, because I think the less you know about the film, the better it is. And basically, a lot of the movie revolves around him on video call and calling. You know, he's marching around. Funny enough, he's marching around his office. But then in its third act, there's a twist, and the movie then becomes incredibly serious. And I was just so surprised by it because I didn't anticipate it being like this at all. And I know Danny Dyer can act because he's been on stage. He has done serious pieces of work. And I just thought this was brilliant. Obviously very dialogue driven. There's no sort of action
Yeah.
in the movie. I mean, obviously Dyer's very quick witted as well, and he's very funny. And also it plays into the life of, you know, what a Premier League agent has to deal with, and also with the players that are in their private life always not being as well paid. So the movie had a lot of like smart messages, but it was very smartly done. Sort of, it's probably one of the few Danny Dyer movies that actually does have a brain in it. And that's not a disrespect. I love his other work, but it's not what you expect. It's similar to sort of like him in sort of EastEnders when he was tackling the real sort of heavy subjects. I know obviously that's a soap, but like he dealt with sort of anxiety and men's mental health, and he did a really good job. So I feel like if you give him a serious script, like he can do it. I think it's a Sky original, so it probably will come to Sky Now
Okay.
TV. I'd
Okay.
recommend it. It's just don't anticipate it being what you think of Danny Dyer.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. The first half, yeah, because I mean the movie got an 18 for like, and it just said very strong language, and within like the first 10 minutes, I was like, okay, I can clearly see why. But it fills that word, because I imagine when football agents are negotiating,
Yeah.
that kind of language is probably happening. And yeah, the message that it's got, revolving around themes of like consent and how somebody behaving in that way, the effect that it does have. I mean, you'll probably see the twist a mile off. When I looked at some reviews, people said that there was nothing surprised about it. But to me, I really, really enjoyed it.
Okay.
The premise alone interests me.
Yeah.
I sometimes like movies in one spot, like
Fine, please.
Phone Booth, the one with Jake Gyllenhaal recently on Netflix. I can't remember what that was called. I like that as well. And Football Agent as well. It sounds decent enough, and if you've enjoyed it, that definitely means I'll try and watch it. Score?
8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, solid. Wow.
Oh, it's quite high.
It's definitely better than
I think
Martin.
it's great, and I was thinking about this on my drive home, thinking like I'd love movie trailers. Don't get me wrong. When you see a movie trailer that blows your mind away, it really excites you. But there is a real art when you go into something thinking,
Not knowing, yes.
What I was expecting was literally Marching Powder 2, and then to come out of it going, wow, I did not see that coming.
It's almost the best films, isn't it? When you're surprised how good they are.
The end of the movie was a real gut punch, and if you're again, this is not a spoiler, but if you're a father with a daughter, it will hit you even harder.
Fuck's sake. Okay.
Because I thought if I had a daughter, that's why I think that I'll be really curious to see what both you guys think about it, because it's just not what you would expect.
So it's got a 3.1 on Letterboxd.
That's decent.
Which means it's already had enough reviews. Rotten Tomatoes, that hasn't quite had enough reviews yet. But looking at the ones it's had, most of them are like got the tomato, and there's like one with like the green, whatever you want to call it, splat.
Yeah.
So it's probably 60 plus, or around the 60 mark at least. So that's. We're talking. This is a masterpiece.
I actually think that I'm sort of in the majority, that people have gone to watch it and gone, "Wow, this is Dyer's best performance." Because again, unfortunately for Danny Dyer, he does have that sort of thing. I mean, he's doing the that Caravan TV show with his daughter. I haven't seen all of it, but I saw like 10 minutes of it the other night, and I was like, he normally misses the mark for the majority of people, to be honest. Even though I love him as an actor, and I don't think I've seen a film of his that I didn't enjoy. But this is like, oh, we've got a proper actor here, and sometimes I wish he kind of showed that a bit more. Maybe as he gets even older, he'll start to do even more of these type of movies, particularly as this one seems to be going down quite well.
Yeah. It's got a chipmunk in it. The rapper.
Oh, really?
I'm all about this. I'm watching this for sure.
Only his voice, though. You don't actually see him.
Oh, man. Okay. That's annoying. Anyway, I'm definitely going to watch it at some point. We are running out of time. Do you want to give scores for the others, or do you want to save that for another week?
I mean, I can quickly give scores, because I went to see the Bride, which all I will say, love The Bride. It's an absolute mess of a movie, but in a really beautiful way, because there is so much that goes on in that film, right? And it changes. So at times it's like sexy, then it's gory, then it's like there's so much happening. I don't know if you agree, Andy. It is a very unusual experience, The Bride.
That's what Andy called it. He said it was like a messy masterpiece.
Yeah,
it
it's like, I saw an interview with Maggie Gyllenhaal, and it's like she threw all of these different ideas, and some of them don't stick, but the majority of them do. Also, Jessie Buckley plays 3 characters in this film. It's nuts. She has 3. I've noticed 2 of them, and then when I Googled it, I was like, oh shit, was that as well? Like, blew my mind. So I gave The Bride an 8 out of 10, because it was crazy, but like in a good way. Because there were bits that I was thinking, oh, I'm not sure I'm going with this. And then about the 30-minute mark, the first bit of action happens, and I was like, okay, I'm now in. And you're right, the end song, genius. Absolutely fucking genius. Can't think of a better song. And also quickly, Mother's Pride, I loved. Highly recommend that. That is the best movie out of all of those lists that I've just given. I cried twice, and it was just me, 2 elderly women and then 2 other elderly women at the front, and all you heard at one point was just me going, because it just, oh man, it got me. There was one bit with their mum that got me, and then at the end, man, I've absolutely done.
Andy, you've seen this, right?
Yeah,
You can
sorry.
give a score
It
as
is
well.
emotional. Yeah, I can.
It's a perfect movie of just everything, heartwarming, funny, like movie. I mean, it's predictable. I knew exactly what was coming a
Is
mile
this the
away.
one with Jay from The Inbetweeners?
Yes, yeah, James Buckley in it. But it's such a lovely movie. I came out of that movie feeling so happy and thinking the world was such a lovely place and no bad stuff ever happens, and we're all about community and everyone coming together. Quickly realizing that that isn't the case, but it is. It's a lovely, lovely movie.
So both of you, what score would you give it?
I will give it a 9.
Oh, so I'm trying to remember what I rated it on Letterboxd.
I can tell you if you want.
I think I rated it 4 out of 5.
You probably an easy way to get to your name. Mother's Pride, you did give it 4. Yep.
I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10 then, because it was a really good story. James Buckley was good. Martin Kling was good. There are emotional scenes in it. It is all about community. Yeah, it is I'd recommend people to go watch it.
Yeah, it's like 90 minutes. It's one of those, like, you take sitting down, you will feel really lovely by the end of it. Sort of, it's one of those feel good movies, with a really strong message. I'll say I watched the Hugh Edwards drama on Channel 5 this week, which Martin Clunes plays Hugh Edwards. I don't know if you've heard of this, or
Was it called?
who you know Hugh Edwards, who broadcast when the Queen died and was the big journalist, and then
Yeah.
he had indecent images of children on his phone.
Oh, yeah.
They've done a drama where Martin Clunes plays him.
Okay.
It's brilliant. It's a one-off. It's like an hour and 50-minute drama. It's funny, he's come out and said that it doesn't show him in a good light. The phrase "no shit Sherlock" comes to mind.
Obviously, yeah.
Exactly. And there's a big debate on whether we should be dramatizing crimes as early as this, but it's Martin Clunes as you've never seen him before. So if that's something that you want to watch, if you like the true crime kind of stuff, I'd recommend watching that. But he's done like Wuthering Heights, Mother's Pride, and I've seen him in Hugh Edwards.
Yeah.
Like he's on a mad one at the moment, Martin Clunes.
Cool. Well, there we have it. That is going to do it for this week's episode of the Late Night Movie Podcast. Let us know what you thought of Alarum. It feels like ages ago since we reviewed that now. Drop your thoughts in the comments or tag us on socials at the Late Night Pods. We'd love to hear from you, or any of the other films we've discussed today, such as Hill or Good Boy. I'm never going to be able to call it Hill. It just doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah.
Or Mother's Pride, or One Last Deal. One Last Deal and Mother's Pride, I'm going to put them on my list. When they come to streaming, I'm going to make sure
I imagine they both would be.
They seem like
coming
they're
quite
and
quickly.
actually, you know
Again,
what? Hill, I'll watch it as well.
One Last Deal is a Sky exclusive, so that will come to
something,
Now
yeah.
TV.
I'll find a way.
Confident.
I've got my
Yeah.
list. If you enjoyed the episode, please make sure to follow and subscribe wherever you are listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next episode. Speaking of which, next time we will be reviewing Paradise Season 2. You will not want to miss that one. It's going to be a very good discussion. Just a final reminder, Over the Moon is the movie we're watching next on the Wheel of Cinema, but we're not reviewing that until early May. We'll give you enough time beforehand when we've got a concrete date as to when that will be. Until then, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I have been your host, Welchy, and my co-hosts have been Andy.
Yeah, thank you as always, guys. And I apologize to anyone that actually watched the film along with us, because that was one boring film.
And Stephen.
Yeah, a bit of fun one as ever, and looking forward to seeing our next Wheel of Cinema.
Thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time.